Welcome back to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. On today's show, we have Brian Huff, the president of Adventure Lighting. That's all I'm going to say about him. He sells a lot of light bulbs like me and Greg. If you don't know Brian, you got to join NAILD. Come on down to nailed.org. But before we get into that, we got to go to KeystoneTech.com. Greg Eric, that's KeystoneTech.com. Talk about their CFLs, Greg.
They're CFLs. I don't think they have any.
I mean, sorry, their CFL LED replacements. There you go.
Oh, is that what we're talking about? Okay, yeah. They have everything you can imagine: extended vertical, horizontal, omni, 2-pin, 4-pin. GX23, whatever the next one is, G24Q, I think, something like that. But they have every base you can imagine. They have every shape and size, and then every color. And a lot of them are color selectable, and that's what I love about what Keystone does. Is you don't need to worry about the Kelvin temp. You can just make it color, select it right on the lamp itself, and move on with your day.
That's because they're the big easy. Go to KeystoneTech.com. Light made easy, KeystoneTech.com. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be here
back.
again.
Yeah, welcome back, actually. So I sent this over, and Scott, the producer, is going to layer this in so everybody can see. And it's an alert from the Government of Canada, Environment and Climate Change Canada, which says information on products containing mercury regulations. Okay, and you go through it, and I'm not really concerned about screw-in CFLs. I'm not so concerned about linear fluorescent lamps. Circle lines, maybe a little bit, but I have some concerns about the CFLs, and I'm wondering if you guys share any of these concerns. So
I've had CFL.
Yeah, pin-based CFLs. I don't think the industry is ready by, according to this document, that the prohibition is going to start on 2030. That's a deadline. You can't manufacture replacement lamps as of January 1st. The phase out is December 31st, 2027. I don't know if the industry's ready for that yet. I've had a lot of problems with pin-based CFLs. Over to you, Brian. What do you think? We ready to rock? Ban them all?
Well, I think Keystone's got some good options, right?
Yeah, of course.
The biggest problems we've had are when you put them in and they're not as omnidirectional as the omnidirectional might suggest in the LED literature. Really getting the punch out of a fixture and then figuring out, you'd be surprised how many people don't understand the difference between vertical and horizontal. This seems like a tough one. I'm not to outright ban them. I think it's going to be a struggle, but it's also 6 years away. So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, let me jump into here. One thing, I just wrote this down: 5, 7, 9, 13, 18, 26, 32, 42, 57, maybe something in the 60s. Those are all the different wattages that CFL pin base are in right now. And how many LED options there are? 6, 8, maybe a 12, sometimes a 15. And that's it. And so you can't replace all pin based. There's some some big monster lights that have like a 42 watt 4-pin. That there are people that have something close, but it's tough. So just taking that into account.
The ones that I find a lot, you run into these more than you might think. You go into like a bank, you know what I'm talking, like a lobby bank or a church that has these big bowls up in the ceiling and like a atrium type ceiling, and they've got 40 watt PLL, the longer
long twin tubes.
Yeah, and it glows the bowl. It does the indirect lighting up above, and the LED really struggles with that kind of option. So you go in and okay, well, put one this way and one the other way, so you get light both ways, and then you lose half the light. It just seems like it never works.
I look at this and I see a lack of knowledge about all those types of fixtures. I have another client, and they have a dimming CFL lighting control system in their church. Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but you know who makes this dimming control sort of thing, and they're not a member of NAILD, and they sunset all those systems, as they go along. The ballasts are no longer available. You can buy some on eBay, these dimming ballasts, but the fixtures are 42 feet in the air. They're omni glow, just like what Brian was talking about. And this is going to cost this church a fortune. And they just spent $2 million renovating their church 10 years ago. They just put the system in, basically. And now they have to, I don't even know how to do it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even know how to get that dimming on LED CFLs and keep the fixtures. Like, I don't think the government that makes these rules, they're not thinking about the vast array that these CFLs are deployed into and the damage that's going to cause.
Yeah, I think if they want to ban, it's a tough word to use, right? But like, if they want to ban a 32 watt PLT and make a good replacement for it, the 26 watt PLC, the quad, and the real basic ones that there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these out there. But gosh, to sunset everything, I think feels like a mistake. But that's how I felt about, when they go and knock out the candelabra flame tips and stuff like that. That makes it really difficult to find the oddballs.
Yeah, and some of these, think of the low watt stuff too. I keep going back to that just because there's so many of them. But like a 5 watt PL is using 5 watts. I get that it has a little mercury.
What are we doing
but
here?
it's using 5 watts. What are we going to go to 3.5, 2.5? Right. Some of that stuff is pointless. I agree with Brian that let's pick a few, sure, and then cut those out. But we don't need to. I don't think all.
I want to show you something, Scott. Can you go grab the box on my desk? That I know he's going to run out while he's producing the show. There's a box on my desk that has some CFLs, and I'm going to show these to you guys. Have you guys noticed? Have you ever read any of the package inserts on some of these CFLs? You guys, the ballast compatible ones? Like
the LED
I've said
no.
Yeah. So we sell these to contractors, right? Okay. And I sold a whole bunch of these. I'm going to cover the name, and maybe Scott can take a picture. But there's the base of the CFL totally melted. Okay. And the lamp was still emitting light, and the fixture was on fire. Okay. And when I contacted the manufacturer, they said, "Oh, it's too bad for you because you have to check the ballast on every single fixture for compatibility, or we're not responsible." And it actually says in the literature that you have to open every fixture and make sure the ballast is compatible with this lamp. Otherwise, it's your fault if something goes wrong. And that's not how people use light bulbs. That's not reasonable. You understand what I mean? If I sell these to a contractor, he pushes them in the fixture, light comes on. That's compatible to the contractor, to the customer, to everybody else. Nobody's thinking, well, gosh, maybe I should open every single fixture and look at the ballast. And this place was, 30 years old. There was, advanced ballast. There was universal ballast that were running these things. There was some Stand Pro in there. There was a Keystone. So after we did it, we started checking, and they had 6 different ballasts in the place that were changed over time. And now these fixtures were starting on fire, and we identified which ballast was the problem with that. But this is not safe for the end user. I mean, we can handle it. Us NAILD distributors are going to jump in there and make sure, that cost me $4,000 to fix that, to get that problem fixed. And the manufacturer said, "Sorry, you're on your own, buddy. You didn't check the ballast on every fixture." I'm not going to say who it was, but this is the kind of stuff that is built into these kinds of bans. It's built into it.
Well, maybe they require you that you have to bypass the ballast, because that's what I would do, Mike. Bypass it all day. You don't need to use those ballasts. What are you doing with that anyways? Got to save a couple bucks up front?
The customer just wants to put LEDs in, dude. It's not a project. There was no rebate. You know what I mean? The customer just ordered, oh, you know what? I can order LED. Okay, let's send me the LEDs and I'll change them all and I'll start saving energy. His maintenance guy goes around, plugs them all in. A month later, there's fires.
Yeah, this is, to Greg's point, this has always been where I've stood on 4-foot tubes. Like, if you're going to replace or take out ballasts and rewire the whole fixture, just replace the fixture. At least at that point, you're not going to have any, shouldn't have any long-term fire issues or anything like that. The other big pain point I have on these CFLs is you've seen a 2x26 watt can with the Alzac finish, and they poke in horizontally.
Sure.
Some of the CFL replacements that we have, they're too big to get through the hole.
Yes. Or the light is half out where the most of the light is not where it needs to be. Yeah, it doesn't fit properly.
Mm-hmm. So it's a direct replacement as far as wattage and light output is concerned, but it doesn't fit in the hole that it's designed to replace. So
Yeah,
we mess around more than we need to. Anyway, go ahead.
And you remember, like, the date may, the total ban may be 2030. So that's you destroy your stock. You're not allowed to sell it anymore, right? That's what that means. But like, these are already getting hard to get. I don't know if you guys sell a lot of CFLs, Greg, but it's getting
Yeah,
hard to
I mean,
find.
they are getting harder to find. They're more expensive now. But yeah, it's something that I haven't seen a lot. Like Minnesota just went through their ban now on linear fluorescence and plugins, but they didn't say anything about prohibition on selling lamps that I read there. Just says it's interesting how they broke it out, at least in Canada. And then who's going to monitor? That's something we always talk about. Is I'm
Light
gonna
bulb
check you
police.
January 2nd in 2030, Mike, and see if you have. I'm gonna see all your invoices. You have any
Well, you
CFL plugins on there? I'm coming.
remember the DOE ban? What was that
Yeah.
ban on something? Like, and who did they go after? You know who they went after. They didn't go after Premier Lighting or Adventure Lighting or Atlas Lighting. They went after Amazon.
Mhm.
Right? So they went to Amazon and they said, hey, you guys are selling these banned light bulbs. You're in trouble now. And Amazon turns around to all of their vendors, which is a bunch of NAILD members on there. And they're like, your items are now banned. You got to fix your items. The ban's on you. And they changed their policies because, we don't make mostly people that sell on Amazon, you don't make the listings. You just bid the listing that's on Amazon already. So they changed their policies. Now you're in charge of that listing if you bid on it and you've sold on it. You're the last one to sell it. It's your listing. You're now responsible for this. So they went after Amazon. They're not going to go after the hardware store around the corner, Atlas Lighting. They're going to go after the big online retailers where they can sit in their office and Google, oh, you're selling that CFL. Here's a fine. And so I don't think we have to really worry too much about enforcement in the long run. But I'm not so concerned about enforcement. I'm not concerned about, um, you know, uh, 90%, but that 10% that Brian identified, fixtures that, very difficult to retrofit to LED, you're going to have to take the fixture out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and oftentimes, go back to these giant bowls and churches and banks and whatever. If it's lighting up over pews in a church, like, first of all, these churches never have enough money, which everybody understands that. And replacing the entire fixture 9 times out of 10 is just not viable. So
No.
outright banning a bulb that does a perfectly fine job, I think, is probably a little suspect.
Final point. Wouldn't it be so much easier if they were to say, hey, can NAILD do a committee for us and tell us exactly which bulbs we should ban? Like, I'm gonna come out right now and say, you know what? You can probably ban the 400 watt metal halide. I think that bulb could be banned. You know what I mean? And that's what 70% of all metal halides. I mean, what is it? It's got to be up there in percentage wise.
Mm-hmm.
And the 4-foot T12 lamp, yeah, that could go in the museum. Yeah. And the 3-foot and the 2-foot and the 8-foot, you can probably get rid of all those, and the T8s too. I'd leave the T5s for a bit, you know what I mean? And just identify, instead of banning and exempting, I think they would be much more successful if we had a NAILD committee and they said, you know what, we want to get rid of Mercury, tell us which SKUs we should ban. And I think a solid NAILD committee could say, yeah, ban these 100 codes or these 4-foot T8s or whatever, and you would get 99% of it done, and then you wouldn't interfere on all those other applications. And
I would even say that if you're going to talk about 4, 3, 2-foot, just ban the 4. Like the 3.2s, the 24-inch weird lamps. Like, don't mess with those. Too many people have them in their kitchen lights and their pool lights. Whatever it is.
Their Coke machine that they bought,
exactly.
they love. Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody uses a 4-foot bulb in there. And then if they do, fine. We've got plenty of those that do a very nice job replacing them. And on the manufacturer side, like, there's money in scale, right?
Sure.
And if you have to outright ban a 28-inch T12, like, nobody's buying these. So where's the replacement going to be? There isn't going to be one.
Yeah, F18T8, K28, those K32s, and all those weird appliance lamps. Yeah, there isn't. I haven't. I mean, maybe someone's going to email me after the show.
Maybe
We got them.
there, yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't been able to find an LED replacement for that, and definitely not ballast compatibles coming down the line because it's going to be a magnetic ballast. So, But yeah, you could just ban the 4-foot tube, the 4-inch watt metal halide, the 250 watt metal halide, 175, and you're knocking a lot of almost all the mercury out, Greg. What do you think?
I
Yeah.
Go back to,
That's 80%, right? Get
yeah,
rid of 80% of them that you don't need, and then the other weird 20%. Let people still get the lights they need without
yes.
making it too difficult.
Mhm.
Final thoughts,
Not that
Brian.
hard.
Yeah, I would put the number higher than 80%, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
It
ask
seems
us.
so easy, but yeah, to make an outright ban on, right here, your pin based or metal halide altogether, like, boy, yeah,
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of nuance in there that we could help somebody navigate through that's writing up this legislation.
totally. And not only that though, but all those metal halide lamps that are in those, those machines that cook for printers. Those metal halide lamps that they shine on those are all going to be,
Okay.
you're going to have to get an exemption on that. It's like, forget the exemptions. Just do these 10 products. Okay. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like you only have to ban like 50 products and you're good to go. You got everything covered. So check it out. Keystone Technologies. They got lots of options on CFLs, Greg, KEYSTONETECH.com.
Don't be totally scared of it. You can still get it done. We still do a ton of CFL replacements. Even, recessed cans, you got great can inserts that Keystone has. And that's what I do most often on recessed cans is a new insert. Looks clean, pretty easy to install, right price. Don't have to worry about sockets. Check those out.
Yeah, inserts are great. And also the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. If you work at the DOE or Environment Canada, send an email to the NAILD office. We'll hit you up. We'll give you really good policy ideas, and they will probably do it for free for you because it would only take about 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
go to NAILD.org. Thanks to all you guys and gals out there listening to this. We appreciate you. Bye for now.